So for our grant challenge, we did environmental design, sustainability, clean energy, and clean water.
So, for the grand challenge in sustainability, there's many aspects to it. The first being climate change, and the problem is trying to use renewable energy beyond fossil fuels, addressing extreme weather, and understanding climate change impacts on human health and resources. Another aspect is resource scarcity. That means securing clean water, securing sustainable food, and securing materials for billions of people, all while trying to reduce pollution and waste. Another aspect is biodiversity and ecosystem health, and that involves reducing deforestation practices, protecting many different types of species, and restoring natural ecosystems. And the last aspect is social equity and inclusion, which means eradicating poverty, ensuring access to essentials like health, education, water, and energy, and addressing disparities in vulnerable communities. And the Grand Challenge in Clean Water also has some similar, a lot of aspects as well. Access and equity. Um, so billions lack basic access to clean water, and providing clean water and sanitation requires community-based and inclusive approaches so that everyone gets clean drinking water. Another one is technology and innovation, which involves developing cost-effective desalination techniques, advancing filtration to get rid of contaminants like microplastics and chemicals, and water recycling technologies. Infrastructure is another one, which involves upgrading aging water systems to reduce leaks and contamination. And this is, especially in older cities and rapidly growing areas, it's important. Sustainability, managing resources sustainably, reducing energy use and water treatment, and transforming wastewater from waste to a resource. Climate resilience, which involves addressing water scarcity and flood risks due to climate change through better planning and infrastructure. And lastly, policy and governance, navigating complex water rights regulations and financing new solutions. And this requires collaboration between scientists, policymakers, and communities too. And lastly, for clean energy, energy storage and grid integration is a big problem that needs to be addressed. The biggest hurdle is storing energy from intermittent sources, which means kind of like renewable sun and wind, and delivering it reliably 24/7. And this requires breakthroughs in battery technology, long duration storage, and grid modernization. Renewable energy, developing ways to have mass renewable energy, whether that be in the form of solar panels, wind turbines, or hydroelectric dams. It involves decarbonizing electricity, which means transitioning power generation to renewables, solar, wind, and hydro, which is foundational. Sectors including the transport and other industries rely on clean electricity, so making sure that other sectors rely on clean electricity too is important. Creating cost-effective, low-carbon alternatives, for example, like sustainable aviation fuel for sectors that don't have that much electricity usage. Infrastructure and policy, That means building new transmission lines, developing charging networks, and creating supportive policies and subsidies. Sector-specific solutions, tackling heavy industry and transport with clean power or fuels. And lastly, economic and social equity, which is ensuring the transition of clean energy creates jobs and doesn't harm communities. Uh, it has to be remain affordable for everyone in the economy.
So for this part, when we talk about the sustainability, we realize it's connected to many problems in daily life. The environment is changing very fast. Climate change causes hot water, stronger storms, and those change makes life harder for people around the world. These affect people's healthy food production and natural resources. So these issues affect not only the environment, but also human society as a whole. So Sestina connects the environment problem with also with economic and social system. So we also say that many resources are becoming harder to use. Clean water and clean air is not always available as people live on the earth, prices on the resource becoming greater. So, sustainability is also connected to social problems. Um, Environmental harm often affect poor community more. Not everyone has the same access to clean water or healthy living space because those problems are global and long term. So, we identify sustainability as a ground problem. Um, let's go to the next. Can you go to the next page? So let's talk about the clean energy. So clean energy is very important, but there are many difficult. Solar and wind energy depends on natural conditions. Sometimes it hears and knows and why, but this makes clean energy is less reliable. Energy storage is another problem. Battery are so expensive and not powerful enough yet. So power system also need major improvement to handle clean energies. So clean energy is necessary to reduce pollutions. Fossil fuels release harmful gases into the air. So electricity is used in transportations, factories, and daily life. So long-term energy planning is necessary to ensure to a stable energy supply. Means clean electricity is essentials. So the success of the clean energies depends on the cooperation between governments and industries. For those reasons, clean energy represents a major global challenge. Um, Now that I will expound on why clean water is a grand challenger. Many people around the world do not have the safe drinking water. So clean water is depends on the technology. Clean water systems request both advanced technology and strong management. In many places, drinking water is unsafe. Many diseases caused by unsafe water. So this causes serious privacy problem around the world. Many people still do now have the access to clean drinking water. So water system also fix many problems. Production water research requires long-term thinking. So climate change is more precious. Managing clean water is complex. It requires cooperation between government, scientists, and communities. Because of clean water is essential for health and equalities. This is why clean water is considered one of the most critical global challenges today. This is a challenge and shows how environmental issues are closely connected to human society. Thank you.
So why is sustainability important? It reduces pollution, carbon emissions, and harmful resource extraction, helps slow climate change and extreme weather impacts. The United Nations identifies sustainability as essential for combating climate change and supporting human well-being. It also preserves resources for future generations. It ensures long-term access to clean water, food, and energy, and prevents depletion of natural ecosystems and biodiversity. It also supports human health and safety. Sustainability involves cleaner air and water reduces diseases and improves quality of life. Sustainable cities reduce exposure to toxins and environmental hazards. And overall, it strengthens the economy. It creates jobs in renewable energy, green infrastructure, and innovation. And it reduces costs from climate disasters, health crises, and resource shortages. The IPCC confirms accelerating climate damage without sustainable action. So why is having clean energy important? It reduces carbon emissions, and clean energy dramatically cuts greenhouse gases from electricity, transportation, and industries. And it is essential for slowing climate change and protecting ecosystems. It also improves public health. It replaces fossil fuels, reduces air pollution linked to asthma, heart disease, and premature deaths. And cleaner air results in healthier communities worldwide. Solar, wind, and hydro reduce reliance on imported fuels, and it provides more stable and predictable energy prices, as well as also supporting the economic growth. Clean energy creates millions of jobs in engineering, manufacturing, and installation. Renewable energy costs continue to decrease, making it competitive or cheaper than fossil fuels. The International Energy Agency shows renewable energy are now the fastest growing energy source globally. And it definitely builds a sustainable future as it powers electric vehicles, modern grids, and low carbon industries, and ensures long term access to reliable and affordable energy. The World Resource Institute highlights clean energy as critical for decarbonizing major sectors. And finally, why is having clean water important? It's essential for human life. Clean water is required for drinking, cooking, hygiene, and health worldwide. WHO, the World Health Organization, reports unsafe drinking water causes major global health risks, and it supports healthy ecosystems. Rivers, lakes, and wetlands rely on clean water to sustain biodiversity, and ecosystems provide natural filtration, flood control, and climate regulation. It's also the foundation for economic stability, as we've said before. Agriculture, industry, and energy production depends on clean water, and pollution and scarcity threaten global food supply and manufacturing. And it promotes social equity. Billions lack safe drinking water. Access is a fundamental human right for all human beings, and clean water systems reduce inequality and support community well-being. The UN water identifies water security as a global crisis since 2024, and it builds climate resistance. Finally, it's well-managed water systems help communities withstand droughts, floods, and contamination, and protects infrastructure and reduces long-term environmental risks.
Who might work on these problems in the future? The government plays a huge role in sustainability as it creates laws, policies, and regulations that limit the use of fossil fuels, limit emissions, limit water usage, and creates a more sustainable standard across the board. Sustainability is a global issue, so governments across the world must work together to accomplish the mission. As sustainability, it's not just within your own country, it's the whole world has to work together. Communities, creating a culture of being more sustainable, encouraging each other to be less wasteful, and educating each other on the negative effects of climate change. Sustainability really starts from the bottom up. So if we can change our habits individually to more sustainable ones, it's going to eventually naturally create a more sustainable future. Businesses, implementing more sustainable practices into their services, because as businesses, they tend to try to create their products the quickest, the fastest, the cheapest, which is always not the most sustainable practice. So having businesses buy into being more sustainable, using less fossil fuels, using more green technology, less water intensive manufacturing, and producing less linear flow products and more circular flow products, which are reusable, would be great for the sustainability issue. And scientists need to keep on researching and improving the sustainable ways to obtain and use clean energy, as clean energy is actually very hard to sustain, which is why it's not as popular. So if we keep on improving technology and finding new ways to use renewable energies and storing renewable energy, that would help sustainability. And education as well, as if individuals are not educated on sustainability, they have no reason to be sustainable because they don't know why to be sustainable. Lastly, infrastructure. The addition of green spaces within cities, upgrading water irrigation systems, addition of solar panels where we can, etc. That would help sustainability, as well as improving public transportation systems, creating more bike routes, walk routes, scooter routes, so we could be less reliant on gas vehicles, which produce a lot of emissions into the air. What resources would it take to work on these problems in the future? Financial. One of the biggest resources would be finances, as we need to invest a great amount of money to have more sustainable future, because upgrading, maintaining, building renewable energy sources such as power grids for wind farms, solar farms are extremely expensive to build and maintain. So we have to invest a lot of money into that. We also have to invest a lot of money into research and developing sustainable renewable resources as well. Political. We need to focus on creating more laws and policies and regulations to limit anyone emitting unsustainable unsustainable ways, unsustainable like products into the world, to hold everybody accountable. International cooperation is also needed, as climate change is a global issue, not a local one. Technology, improving and developing new and more sustainable technology, green infrastructure, improved water systems, desalination tech, and green manufacturing. Lastly, like I mentioned before, education. It's simple but important. It's a simple but important aspect of sustainability, as there's no point of being sustainable if you do not know the importance of it. Education of the negative effects of not being sustainable can influence individuals, communities, businesses to buy into having a more sustainable practice. These are the sources we have used, and pending further questions, this concludes our presentation.